الحمد لله رب السماوات ورب الأرض رب العالمين وله الكبرياء في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. الحمد لله الذي بنعمته تتم الصالحات. ربنا لك الحمد حتى ترضى ولك الحمد إذا رضيت ولك الحمد بعد الرضا. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيد الأولين والآخرين محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ملك الحق المبين، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله وأمين على وحيه. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, all praise and glory and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We owe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala everything we have. وما بكم من نعمة فمن الله ما أصابك من حسنة فمن الله. And we are dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help and guidance and forgiveness and protection and for in every moment of our lives. We come on this day of Friday and this month of Sha'ban to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this, for His help and for His guidance and forgiveness, and also to seek His help and guidance and forgiveness, and to renew our pledge and commitment that we will do everything we can, and we push ourselves and our limits to seek Ridwan Allah, to seek the good pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My dear respected brother and sister in Islam, I'm sure you heard, you are following what's going on in Palestine, Gaza, and especially this last tragic event beyond anything that happened before, when people die while disciplinedly lining up for food, standing in line for food. That's something you cannot even watch. Just hearing the news by itself, it's heartbreaking. And still, it's being justified, and you have versions, and still there is green light to continue, unfortunately, this massacre and this unthinkable tragedy. We can only hope and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a quick and soon ceasefire, at least during this month of Ramadan, and also pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to alleviate their suffering and make it easier on them and give them patience and steadfastness. اللهم فرج همهم ونفس كربهم واجعلنا من كل ضيق مخرجا ومن كل هم فرجا ومن كل بلاء عافية. اللهم آمين. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, we've been talking about the importance of self-restraint, conquering yourself, being in charge, as the essence of taqwa. The essence of taqwa is for you to be in charge, to restrain yourself and push it in any direction you want, not to follow your whims and desires or go with the flow. That's the essence of taqwa and the key to success, as we mentioned in this life and in the hereafter. Show me anybody who succeeded in this life. I can show you someone who has the discipline to do what needs to be done, even when it is hard and even when it is not convenient. That discipline is built in Islam. It's an integral part of our deen. So any good Muslim should be someone who has very high level of discipline, because it comes really very naturally, which is to do the right thing in all circumstances, to be able to do the right thing in all circumstances. Does this mean that we are expected to be perfect? No, we are not. You can say this is perfectionism. No, that's not perfectionism. And by the way, perfectionism is not something bad. Islam, from Islamic perspective, life is a strive for perfection. That you keep pushing yourself to be perfect. You will not be there, you will not reach that, but you need to keep closing the gap. So this idea of we are not perfect, a lot of time it is used in the wrong way. We are not perfect, yes, but we are required to strive for perfection. And that's the whole idea of tazkiyah, by the way. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. Go and search for the meaning of tazkiyah. In Arabic, it's إبلاغ الشيء كمالا, to realize all your potential, or to be all you can be. So life from Islamic perspective is strive for perfection. It's continuous improvement. Allah does not want to see you the same person from one day to another. Allah wants to see you a better person every day until you meet Him. So nobody is going to be perfect, but everybody should be striving for perfection, and that perfection can happen only with discipline and self-restraint. That you have the ability to do what needs to be done, not what is convenient or what you like, or to go with the flow. It's like salah, khushu' in salah. Nobody is going to achieve perfect khushu', but we should all try. We should try and resist. There is a difference between someone who starts praying and their mind goes everywhere, and between someone who is trying to focus. They may lose focus for a few seconds and then come back. That's what is needed. So it's like khushu' in salah. We should be striving to try to be perfect and we resist the tendency to be distracted in salah, and we resist the tendency to deviate in our life. So closing the gap to perfection, that's what we all should be trying to do. Why we need to do this? Again, doing the right thing is the key to success, not only in the hereafter but also in this life. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to succeed and to be happy in this life. So when you seek His pleasure, when you seek Ridwan Allah, you're doing favor to yourself. You're truly following the direction, not only for heaven, but also you're following the direction for happiness in this life and for success, because that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to do. But the right thing is usually inconvenient. The right thing is usually inconvenient. Now you are asleep, you're going to wake up to pray Fajr. That's not very convenient. You want to eat healthy, that's not convenient. It's very convenient to eat unhealthy, very tempting. But to eat healthy, that's not convenient. To exercise, it's not convenient. So everything, doing the right thing, usually it is not convenient. And there is a force that pushes you in the other direction, in the opposite direction. There is shaitan working to make you to do the wrong thing. So every time you have a choice to make, there is the right thing to do and there is the wrong thing to do. And the choice is yours. There is a force pushing in the wrong direction. That's why you need an equal or greater force to be able to push yourself in the right direction. Again, every time we have a choice or a decision to make, there is the wrong way and the right way. There is a force that is pushing in the wrong way. You need an equal or greater force to be able to move in the right direction. And the evidence from Quran and the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam are plenty. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Al-kayyisu man dana nafsahu wa amila lima ba'da al-maut. Wal-ajizu man atba'a nafsahu hawaha wa tamanna 'ala Allah." The smart person, the wise person, is the one who conquers himself. Dana nafsahu. He's in charge. وَعَمِلَ لِمَا بَعْدَ الْمَوْتِ. And he's actively preparing for life after death. As you are doing that, you are also helping yourself succeeding and being happy in this life. They are one package. When you work for life after death, to succeed in thereafter, you are automatically working to succeed in this life and to be happy. Because that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. Wal-ajiz, the loser, failure. The loser is the one who follows his desires, does what is convenient, and then hope that things will work out. Like eat unhealthy and not exercise and hope that your health will be okay. No, it is not going to be okay. That's al-ajiz. كيس من دان نفسه وعمل لما بعد الموت والعاجز من أتبع نفسه هواها وتمنى على الله. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam one time was sitting down with the companions and he drew many crooked lines, and then he drew a straight line, and he recited وَأَنَّ هَذَا صِرَاطِي مُسْتَقِيمًا فَاتَّبِعُوهُ. And he told the companions that on every crooked road there is shaitan trying to get you out in one of those exits. To continue on the straight path requires a lot, as we're going to be talking, requires a lot of knowledge and a lot of willpower. A lot of you need to know so that you cannot be tricked by shaitan to one of those crooked ways or crooked path, and also you need the willpower. One, not to be lost, and two, to be strong enough to continue on the straight path. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in another verse says, فَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا الْهَوَىٰ أَن تَعْدِلُوا. So you are either fair or you are biased. When you're judging between people, you're either going to be fair or you're going to be biased. Being fair, that's the right thing to do. Being biased, that's following your desires or hawa. So it's always, there is the straight path or the right way, and there is اتباع الهوى. أفرأيت من اتخذ إلهه هواه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there are people who they worship their desires. Why? What does it mean? It means they follow their desires. They cannot restrain themselves. You tell them this is bad, they say we know, but they cannot stop it. Or they argue with you. There are the two categories. The ones who are weak and the ones who are arrogant. The ones that follow the wrong way, either ignorant or weak or arrogant. And we need to avoid all three with knowledge and with the iman, as we're going to discuss. Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu says that the thing that they fear most for you is اتباع الهوى, following your whims and your desires. Why? He said because in اتباع الهوى يصد عن الحق. It will lead you away from the straight path. So there is straight path and there is hawa, or you're following your desires. Now, how to remain in the straight path and not to be among the losers or the biggest losers. Who are the biggest losers? قل هل أنبئكم بالأخسرين أعمالا الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا. Who are the biggest losers? Those who are astray, but they think they are doing good. These are the biggest losers. They do a lot of damage and harm to themselves and to the others out of good intention. Why? Because there is no knowledge and wisdom to protect them from that. So, how to remain on the straight path and avoid to be among the losers or the biggest losers? Now, in every rak'ah, we recite Fatiha and we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from being غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. غير المغضوب عليهم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. We're praying to Allah, we're acknowledging that we need His help to stay on the straight path. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Not the ones who know what they're supposed to do and they're not doing it, and the ones who are lost because out of ignorance. So the Quran is pointing, it's either lack of knowledge or weakness of iman. Weakness of iman or ignorance or arrogance, both. These are the factors, either ignorance or weakness or arrogance, and these are the ones. How we can work against all of this? Knowledge and iman. Work on your knowledge to protect yourself from being lost with good intention, and work on your iman to be able to push yourself in the straight path even if it is not convenient. Knowledge will give you direction. Knowledge will give you direction, so you know your way. If when I use the metaphor of driving, knowledge is like the steering wheel and GPS, both. So GPS and steering wheel so that you stay in course. Iman gives you the energy and the brakes. The energy to move forward and the brakes to avoid accidents. That's how you can make it when you're driving. That's how you make it in this life. That's how you stay in the straight path. Knowledge will give you the direction, shows you the way. And by the way, it is easier for shaitan to trick a worshipper than someone with knowledge. It's much harder because the one with knowledge can can detect the tricks of shaitan and can be immune, at least protected, not immune maybe. But the one with iman without knowledge can be easily tricked. They can be easily tricked and end up among the ad-dallin, people who are lost and they don't know. So absence of any elements or lack of any elements can create problems. Like in driving. No brakes, no gas, no steering wheel, no direction, it's a problem. In here, same thing. No knowledge or weak, and no weakness of iman, then any lack of any of the elements can create problems. Knowledge without iman, you can end up going the wrong way out of weakness or arrogance. Iman without knowledge can make you go in the wrong way out of good intention, while thinking because you'll be among the people who are lost. So the proper attitude of a Muslim is what? Practically speaking, is to be always working on your knowledge and on your iman. That's how you can stay the course. Working on your knowledge, make sure that every day you learn something new, you apply it, and also, ideally, you share it. That's the life of a believer. You want to be like Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that's his life was centered around this. And the companions, they came to know something, they implemented, and they shared it. That's how you protect yourself, so working on your knowledge, and working on your iman. Because as I mentioned, knowledge is a protection and give you some big protection from the tricks of shaitan. Without knowledge, people can do a lot of harm and damage to themselves and to others, even with the best of intention. And shaitan can mislead them, and they can end up, as I said, among the biggest losers. That brings me to a point that I want to really emphasize. From what I have seen and heard in different situations and different cases, and read also, there are some widespread habits among Muslims, members of our communities and societies, that really are causing a lot of problems and damage and need to be taken care of. One, bad habits and ideas. Someone has a bad habit, they don't want to change it. Or they have an idea in their mind and they're pursuing it and very stubborn. They don't want to change, even though it is causing problems to themselves or to people around them. Why? Because they don't listen to advice, they don't accept criticism, they are not willing to change or consider different options or alternatives. And they're not willing to try different routes. That's a very bad attitude that we all should avoid. If you're taking any route, going for any option, please always reconsider. Make some assessment. Be open to go back and retract and to make adjustments. Going back to do the right thing is not weakness. It's not something that you should be ashamed of. They say, الرجوع إلى الحق فضيلة. It's a good character to discover that you were wrong and you stop and you change course. Because a lot of people until now, they see it as if I'm going to acknowledge that I was wrong all this time. What's wrong with this? You were wrong all this time. It's just fix it before it's too late. So please try to acquire this attitude of being humble to learn. Receive advices and criticism with gratitude. Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu says, رحم الله امرئ أهدى إلي عيوبي. When you draw my attention to one of my shortcomings, that's a gift. I should be grateful for you for it, not mad or angry. You're helping me. It's like when you go to a doctor, and doctor helps you detecting an illness and help you fixing it. You will be very grateful to that doctor. You should do the same thing in life. When someone draws your attention to one of your weaknesses, one of your shortcomings, don't be mad. Receive it with gratitude and then start working on it immediately, because that arrogance will lead nowhere. So being flexible and humble and being ready to regularly review and assess ideas and habits, thoughts that are in your mind, have been in your mind for so long, and you're pursuing them. If they're not producing results, what do they say in business? Cut your losses. There is no point in continuing. And it's never too late to change. And nothing wrong with admitting that you are wrong. There is nothing wrong with this. So the moment you discover that's the proper attitude of a believer. Welcome any advice. Welcome anybody who points to one of your shortcomings or weaknesses, and start working on it, and be ready always to change course or to make adjustment, and don't say this is the way I was doing things, I'm going to continue, or this is the way. Quran blames and criticizes and curses even the people who say we found our ancestors doing things this way and we're going to continue doing the same thing. قال أولو جئتكم بأهدى مما وجدتم عليه آباءكم. How about if I bring you something better than what you have found your ancestors? They still rejected it. Why? Because of that kufr or stubbornness. To be stubborn, say this is the way I have been doing things, I'm going to continue doing this forever. Or pursuing a wrong goal or wrong idea. If you find yourself not in the right direction, there is no mukabala, there is no point. And by the way, kibr is one of the major sins, and the ones that believers should not have any amount of it. Darra min kibr. And definition of kibr is batrul haqqi wa ghamtun nas. You see the right way and you insist on continuing the wrong way. That's part of arrogance that Muslims are completely forbidden. رحم الله امرئ أهدى إلي عيوبي. So Muslims should be always on the look for knowledge and for wisdom, as the Rasul ﷺ described, but at least be flexible and humble when it comes to take advantage of it, to take advantage of any advice or any piece. They say, be teachable. That's the word. Be someone who is teachable. Teachable means you are ready to learn something new. You are ready to change something. You are ready to change a habit. You are ready to change an idea or an opinion once you find something that is better. So this is, again, I found and I heard and I read that it is causing a lot, this attitude of being stubborn, this is my way, and insisting on it, causing a lot of problems even among families and relationships. So don't be on the defensive. Don't take anything personal. Any advice or criticism or pointing to your weaknesses, it's something that you need to welcome, because you want to be a better person. You want to discover your weakness. So if somebody helps you discover them, that's something that you should be. And also try to stop jadal or avoid argumentation, which is arguing. Arguing leads nowhere. Rasul ﷺ promised a house in heaven for those who avoid argumentation, even if they know they are right. How about if they are wrong and you want to defend something that is not defendable? There are a lot of people who spend a lot of energy and efforts and time trying to justify something that is clearly wrong. It's much easier to admit that it was a mistake and wrong and move on, rather than fighting to prove you can win arguments and you can win your way, but you can, in the process, you will lose people around you. And that's not something that we should do. So let us all try to acquire this great attitude of being humble and flexible, on the look for wisdoms and advices, and welcome them, receive them also with gratitude, because anything that helps you be a better person, that's a gift. So when someone gives you a piece of knowledge that you didn't know, or point to an idea that you had but it was wrong, gives you a better one, or points to one of your weaknesses, or that's something that is, again, as Umar ibn Khattab mentioned, it's actually a gift. And he says, may Allah bless the one who gives me my shortcomings as a gift. رحم الله امرئ أهدى إلي عيوبي. And arrogance is not proper attitude of believer. Claiming that you are perfect, defending everything you do or you say, that's a waste of time, waste of energy. And by the way, that does not reflect strength. Strength is when you admit mistakes and you admit that you're not perfect and that you have areas of weaknesses that you're working on. That's strength and that's self-confidence. If you try to project an image of perfection, that you are perfect, that you are knowledgeable, that reflects weakness inside and lack of self-confidence. وَتُوبُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونتوب إليه. نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. My dear respected brother and sister in Islam, we keep talking about changing habits, changing attitude. There is no better way than Ramadan to do that. There is no better opportunity to transform yourself for self-transformation than Ramadan. Now, why people are missing? What people are missing about Ramadan? Now, we all, inshallah, are going to do better job in Ramadan. All people, they're going to pray more, or people, they're going to do their relationship with the Quran will be better, or people will be making more dhikr and fasting, of course. So that's a given. That's vast majority of Muslims all over the world are going to do better job in Ramadan. So what's the problem? The problem is that in the mind of the majority of Muslims, Ramadan is an opportunity for temporary improvement, not permanent. And that's here. And that has to be fixed from now as we prepare for Ramadan. That you're approaching Ramadan for permanent changes, not for temporary changes or temporary improvement. That's why it's a very good idea to list certain habits to acquire in Ramadan and keep them after Ramadan. And list of habits to get rid of them in Ramadan and stay away from them after Ramadan. Majority of people, they don't do that. So try to make this Ramadan special in this way, that mentally you're approaching this Ramadan for some permanent transformations, changes. You will have no other opportunity, better opportunity to do that than in Ramadan. In Ramadan, we are very strong. When we can restrain ourselves from food and drink all day long and control our senses because we don't want to spoil our fasting, we are very strong. That's the time to take advantage of to change habits. Because changing habits is doable, but it's not easy. And in Ramadan, you are very strong, and that's the time to do that transformation. So approach this Ramadan for upgrade, not for temporary improvements, because that temporary improvement is going to happen. The other thing that people missing sometimes is that Ramadan is a whole month. Because a lot of time we see people doing very well in the first few days, but then they disappear. So the masjid is full first day, second day, etc. And then until the last 10 days, we start seeing more people. No, you should condition yourself. This is a full month. And by the way, the day and the night is also part of Ramadan. Because a lot of people, they waste a lot of time. The time of Ramadan, all of it is precious. Not the time when you're fasting, even the night time. So let's approach it for a whole month. It's a month of worship. Basically, you should be worshiping Allah, direct worship. The prayer, the dhikr, the Quran, etc., the dua, the direct worship, unless there is something else that we have to do. This should be our attitude in Ramadan. That unless I have to go to work, I have to sleep. Other than that, I am in a state of worship. So any time that you have at hand should be spent on the spiritual development. Spiritual development to upgrade your iman and take it to a different level, and with the intention to keep that after Ramadan. So if during Ramadan you start have regular session with the Quran, make sure that you remind yourself that that's not going to be stopped after Ramadan. I am acquiring this so that it's going to be part of my life, an integral part of my daily schedule. Anything that you're going to gain in Ramadan. If you train yourself to wake up for Fajr and Sahur and don't go back to sleep, and you go to sleep early, try to approach that with the intention to keep it after Ramadan. Everything that you want to do in Ramadan, approach it with the intention that you are going to try your best to keep it. You may not stay at that level after Ramadan, but at least you need to resist and not to be among those who go like free fall. There are people who from the last day of Ramadan to the first day after that, they go business as usual. Shaitan tricked them to close that parenthesis, and they want to go to the masjid. Shaitan will tell them, well, why? Ramadan is over, so stay. There is no point. You want to open Quran? What way of doing this? Ramadan is over. No, we're not worshipping Ramadan. We're taking advantage of Ramadan to upgrade our iman. So that's something that please condition yourself that it's a whole month, it's the day and the night, and it is an opportunity for permanent transformations and upgrade of our iman, not an opportunity for temporary improvement and things that will disappear afterwards. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا توفنا وترضى عنا واختم بالصالحات أعمالنا واجعل خير أعمالنا خواتمها وخير أيامنا يوم نلقاك ومتعنا اللهم بالنظر إلى وجهك الكريم. ربنا ارحم والدينا كما ربونا صغارا وارحم موتانا جميع موتى المسلمين. اللهم بلغنا رمضان واجعلنا ممن يصومونه ويقومونه إيمانا واحتسابا. اللهم بلغنا رمضان واجعلنا ممن يصومونه ويقومونه إيمانا واحتسابا. اللهم بلغنا رمضان واجعلنا ممن يصومونه ويقومونه إيمانا واحتسابا. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وأقم الصلاة.